This video contains spoilers.
Hey you, yes you, get over here, because I've got a crazy theory that you absolutely need to hear, and it's gonna change the way you see Rauru and the Zonai forever, and it all has to do with the sacred stones, the shrines, and a very sinister power you never knew Rauru had. From the very beginning of Tears of the Kingdom, something has always bothered me, and that's the shrine abilities Link gains access to at the start of the game. Ultra Hand, Fuse, Ascend, and especially Recall. Heck, where did all the other powers come from? And unlike Breath of the Wild, these abilities can't simply be explained by, oh, it's technology, don't look too much into it. Sure, the Zonai were very technologically advanced, but these powers are clearly of a spiritual or magical nature. And this all points back to Rauru. Now this is where my theory gets crazy, because I highly believe that Rauru not only has the ability to absorb, but to store the powers of others, and it all has to do with the sacred stones. Now hear me out, because this power was showcased in 3 separate instances, 2 by Rauru himself and 1 by Link. The first being when Ganon first attacked. Sonia and Zelda channeled their powers into their sacred stones, and Rauru was able to absorb their power to amplify his light, and as we saw, the effects were quite devastating. The second being when Rauru seals Ganon. If you look carefully, you'll realize that Rauru isn't using his power of light to suppress Ganon's darkness, but rather absorbing Ganon's power and converting it into his own, essentially using Ganon's own power to fuel his sealing. And the third instance is seen when the champions transfer their energies using their sacred stones to Link via Rauru's hands, which allows him to use their abilities in battle. So what do these 3 examples have in common? Rauru, a sacred stone, plus someone else's power, and that's why I believe all the runes that we gain access to belong to other people. They were people who volunteered fractions of their powers to Rauru to absorb and store in shrines in order to prepare for a calamity or to help a chosen hero progress. So what's the problem, I hear you asking? He absorbed people's powers, but it was all for a good cause, right? Wrong. Just because Rauru used his powers for the greater good doesn't take away from the implications of this power, and it sheds a dark light on the Zonai as a whole, as it all makes sense now. We know that the Zonai were a very intelligent species, so advanced in fact that people considered them gods. So why would such an intelligent species give the immense walls of power that are the sacred stones to beings outside of their own race? Stones, mind you, that depending on the user, could grant them enough power to overthrow or even destroy their civilizations, because there was a contingency plan and also something to gain. My theory is that there was an ability that was passed down for the Zonai that allowed them to steal the abilities of anyone who possessed the sacred stone. So if someone they gave a sacred stone did go rogue or decide to use their powers for evil, they would be able to retrieve the sacred stone and gain their abilities as some kind of compensation. And I know what you're thinking, don't the champions have to, give consent before their powers can be taken or absorbed? And if that isn't how it works, then how come Rauru didn't use this ability against Ganon? It would have saved them so much trouble. And to that I say, remember, Link is only borrowing Raru's power. Sure, he can become very proficient in it, but he will never truly master it, not the way that Rauru could have. And remember, Link is not a Zonai, so he wouldn't know this technique, thus him requiring permission from the user in order to absorb their abilities. But that doesn't mean that Rauru ever needed to. He just did it because he was polite. And secondly, this technique wouldn't be perfect. It would most likely have some restrictions, like you can't hold more than 10 or 12 powers at a time, like the Mandarin. You may be able to discard or store abilities on the side and then gain new abilities, but you couldn't exceed a certain limit. And you can't absorb a power that is far greater than your own. You can only seal or drain it. Heck, I'm starting to think that the only reason why Rauru was able to seal Ganon is because he had a sacred stone, which allowed the technique to work in at least a certain capacity. Overall, this theory sheds a rather dark light on Rauru and the rest of the Zonai. Maybe they weren't such a great and benevolent race, and maybe that's why there were so few of them by the time Rauru came into power. Only time will tell. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I'm reading the script at like 2:35 in the morning because I came up with this whole theory while I was lying down on my bed, and I was afraid that if I went to sleep I'd forget it all. And by the way, the support on the last 3 videos has been crazy. It seems like you guys really love to hear me just talk about these crazy theories. Yeah, well, I'm just gonna keep pushing them out if you guys like them so much. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Help me reach 1,000 subscribers by like my birthday in October. That's my my goal. And leave your own comments down below, leave your own theories, and they may be responsible for the next video. Like, I'm kind of running out of ideas now. And yeah, see you all next time.